then you're just gonna be. I can ask you questions if you want, right?
What's going on, superfans? It is Fit Nerd from Superheroes Ultimate, and I'm here with Todd McFarlane at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, Friday, day 2. Right.
All right. With all the new stories like Spawn 77, #1, The Freak, #1, how do you see Spawn's legacy evolving?
I'm probably slower than they should have, but I wanted to plant the first big centerpiece, right? I'm going to create a universe. You got to have a son, right? And my son, UN, Spawn, right? So at the very beginning in 1992, one of the things that I promised myself is that I wouldn't get distracted from my book until issue 50, right? So some of my other partners were doing other books. I go, no, I'm going to do this book called Spawn. I'm going to go 50 issues. I'm going to get people to know who that character is, and then I'll worry about then spin-offs and miniseries and adding new characters. But I found that as time went by and we got up to it was too easy to make the book a team-up book because there's so many characters in it now after 30 years. So I got to start giving some of those characters their own space so they can go develop and not interfere with Spawn and his pages. And so we came out with the 4 new books in 2021, and I think in 2024, 2025, we'll have another 10 or 15. They're not all ongoing monthly books, but they're just places where I can tell, I think, kind of the background of these characters and not eat up Spawn's pages in his own book. So the only way you can do it, you got to create more books. So that just continues to then grow the universe more and more. Look at that, 30 years plus into Spawn comic book. I had somebody do a count, and there's that have walked through his book. Now, again, they're not all important, right? They could be cops and nurses and doctors and judges. So they're not all important, right? They're not like here, but that's still 2,100. And if any one of them I want to tell a story about, I don't have the room for it. So I got to spill out. So by the time I create those other books and give me 5 years, 10 years, I won't have 2,100 characters. I'll have 4,200. I'll double that number because all those other books are going to do the exact same thing. They're going to introduce new characters. So the legacy at the end will be, hopefully, people go, man, all of this came from Spawn #1. This is my foundation. And if anybody's in construction, and we're sitting in a building here, we're sitting in a city with tall skyscrapers. If you build the right foundation, you can build 100 stories on top of it, and it will be stable. But you need the foundation first. And so Spawn's just my foundation, and I hope I get to build a skyscraper on his back.
With following up with that, with a slew of Spawn titles in development, The Freak, Violator, Knights versus Samurai.
Yep.
What excites you the most for the future of it? Excites you for the future of Spawn and Image Comics?
Probably the thing, it started Image Comic Books in 1992, and I guess in hindsight that was moment, right? But we didn't really know. This is the thing. You didn't really know what we were about to do. That was going to be a lightning bolt, right? Bam, and it was going to disrupt the industry. We were just going, we want to go do our own cool stuff. So obviously that's a proud moment. But the bigger thing for me that gives me the most pleasure at Image is knowing that we have survived now for 30 years and we have produced hundreds and hundreds of different titles. We will continue to produce hundreds and hundreds of different titles by hundreds, if not thousands, of creative people. And even if all the original members get hit by a bus tomorrow, Image Comic Books is going to still thrive. And that's the piece. I think it's sort of like a parent knowing that their kids get old enough and can stand on their own, that even if we parents disappear, my kids are going to be okay because they're fully functional, right? And Image is fully functioning right now. And it's made us, the original founders, I think is a good thing, right? It can go beyond Spawn. It can go beyond the founders. It can go beyond Todd and some of my current partners. That's cool to me. That means Image is going to outlive me. And that's the smile on my face.
the legacy will continue on.
Right. Like all you want creatively is to do some things and have them outlive you creatively. Oh, by the way, I have the exact same thought about my own children, right? My wife and I created 3 beautiful children, and our wish is that we go before them, right? They have so much more to offer. So cool. I'll put in my 40, 50, 60 years in the industry, maybe more. And then at some point, the day's going to come. But I hope that the best is yet to come. Look at Walt Disney. Take a big, giant example. Walt Disney disappeared a long time ago. And yet Disney, the entity, is still thriving, right? So, I don't know, on a small scale, can Image do that? Can the original people started it disappear and it have its best days still ahead of it? I hope so.
That's when you put it that way and you build a legacy that can continue on. There's a good quote that I just came to mind, which is that we're all heading to the same place. It's how we live and what we do and what we'll get remembered for that we're going to make a statement on the world itself.
Yeah, I give talks to business people, and I go, I'm not going to really tell you how to make money, because every decision is a fork in a road, and the decisions I've made were only with the knowledge and the intellect that I have. You may have way more knowledge and more intellect at any given moment, so why would I want to give you a kind of recipe that might actually hold you back, right? Like, I made $1 million, you might make $100 million, right? So I'm not going to tell you that. We're going to have a conversation with, and I'm probably only speaking to a handful of the room at this point, even when they're 22, 23, is you get to take one thing to your grave: your integrity. It's the only thing you get when you go into the box, or your ashes are scattered, is who you were as a person. And at the core, none of that is going to matter based upon the amount of money that you make. If you're a rich asshole, they're going to remember you as just that, right? If you're not rich and you're an asshole, then you're just going to be an asshole, right? So you can be a kind, giving human being that people will basically so broken that you're gone because you were just a good person. Oh, by the way, they don't like to hear it at the beginning, so at the end I actually give them a little bit of a test to prove the theses. And even the young money grubbers have a moment of reflection, I hope, although for those that have already sold their soul, it's gone in about an hour, right? But there's a few of them. I think you can have your integrity and work in shark-infested waters, which are big businesses and big corporations, because I've met them. I have met angels that live in snake pits. So it's doable. And I don't understand why, maybe I'm too Canadian, I don't understand why you don't want to be that person, right? You don't want to be a good person that doesn't have an agenda and is self-serving and is greedy, right? But welcome to the flawed species called humanity.
New York Comic Con exclusive cover, Spawn 357, Peach Momoko, marks the first ever for the series with Peach Momoko.
Yep.
How do artists like Peach influence aesthetic and reception of Spawn?
It's interesting. I have a pretty simple rule when I'm dealing with artists. Draw what you want. Draw what inspires you. Draw what gets you excited. Because if it excites you, it's going to excite me. And if it excites me, it's going to excite the audience, right? I don't want to dictate to you what you need to put on paper, right? But I do have a lot of artists that say, oh man, Todd, I bought Spawn when I was a kid and I'm in the business, and man, if I could only do like it's super cool. And so I sort of get the same kind of broad stroke. And they go, what do you want me to draw? And I go, here's what I want you to draw. Pretend you're 10 years old or 12 or whatever it was when you started collecting comics. Draw the image. It just happens to be this character called Spawn. But draw the image that when you're done, your 12-year-old self would have wanted that instantly to have been a poster and sitting on your wall for the next 2 years. And oh, by the way, after you do your cover for me, theoretically, you get hit by a bus. So this will be your only image of Spawn you're ever going to do. Go.
The Mona Lisa, essentially.
Right. But it's interesting, the results, right? Because I look at some stuff and I go, so you're saying if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, this is the one and only image, like a panel from page 6, like right? That people, that's evocative, that like is cool or designed graphically interesting, or it's telling some kind of story or something. Like, I'm not telling her how big his cape is or how dark it should be or whatever. I'm just going, you're an artist, you're good. If I handed you the copyright, what would you put on that cover? That's what I want you to put on the cover. So I assume that was it. I assume everybody's giving me that thing that's been in their head for a while.
Well, that cover is intense. It's an intense cover.
Oh, no, it's really cool.
It's where it pops out. You give it a posters. You can give it a.
Oh no, I could turn that into posters on her.
Oh,
I did her poster piece. Again, I wish all my artists would do the same thing, right? So sometimes I'm like, what? You got a poster? Come on, man.
Latest news that you have been working on quite a while, and we spoke about this the last time we met, with Deadpool and Wolverine signaling a shift in towards R-rated movies, comic book movies. How do you feel this impacts the upcoming King Spawn film, and what elements do you believe it will set it apart in the evolving landscape?
Hollywood, let me tell you, I'm serious. Hollywood is ever shifting, right? And so when they get a couple of examples of data, then they will shift in that direction. And as soon as somebody shows them another piece of data, they'll shift, right? I think right now in Hollywood, and I would say this is true since the beginning of the pandemic, that all those studios right now are still trying to figure out how to recoup what happened when we shut down, right? Shut down theaters. And I think part of the byproduct, and they know that, is that people stopped going to theaters in the same sort of momentum that they had prior to it. And when the theaters reopened, I think they noticed that comfortable just staying at home and watching it on TV and waiting for it on TV. They broke the addiction. Here's the one thing I've always said about anything. Never give any addict a week off, because they might go, I was sober for a week, maybe I'll try it for 2 weeks, right? What you want to do is you want to keep people addicted all the time, right? Comic book collectors, like every Tuesday or every Wednesday, right? So we go, oh man, I got to get to the store, or I got to get my pull thing, right? Movies come out every Friday, got to go. But we took some time off, and people went, oh, I can still get entertainment and not have to go to theater. And right now, Hollywood is struggling with trying to figure out how to regain that momentum again. So that's a long-winded way of saying, I think they're just going to move in whatever direction will benefit them financially, because they're kind of hurting. And so if R-rated movies they think will help in that direction, then they'll move in a heartbeat, right? But if they think it's a combo of R-rated movie and PG-13 movies and comedies, they'll do that. They think it's children's animation, they'll go like, this is a beggars and choosers. They're just going to go where, I think they're going to go where the audience is telling them to go, period. Like, went to those last 3 movies, let's make more movies like that.
Do you believe that the fans have a lot more power right now, or a little bit more say?
I think so, in that they cut it. Yeah. And so I look at a big movie that has to succeed on so many levels, has to go way beyond just fandom. You can't have a movie like Aquaman make $1 billion with the 35,000 people that buy the comic book. You can't do it. So you still need to get outside it. But I think that fandom can be at the very beginning, good, bad, or indifferent, of either applauding or booing what it is that they see or they think that they're seeing. Whether they're right or wrong, whether it's fair or not, they're very vocal, fandom. It can lead to like guilt, or it can lead to the people saying, hey, like, I'm on to another movie, right? And I think Hollywood has to at least pay attention that exists. I understand you want to make $500 million or $1 billion. You got to get way beyond this, but you can't ignore us completely.
Yeah, it has become a very brutal place, and they can either full force attack a movie or an
anything. IP. Full attack anything. That's it. The question is, how are you going to react to it? You can either become a slave to it, or you can go, no, we'll figure it out. But some people are going to probably get more applause than they deserve, and some people are going to get sort of more jeers than they deserve. right? Because people are just going to listen to what they're reading instead of going and making an informed decision for themselves, right? Look at, I used to have people come up to me and go, man, I don't want my kid watching The Simpsons. I hear it's not very good, and that Bart and that Homer, they're not very kind. And it's like, oh, that part didn't you like? Well, I've never seen it. Cool. Okay. Never seen the thing that you dislike, right? This is my kid saying they don't like broccoli. Never tasted it, right? Taste the broccoli and then tell me you don't like it, right? Stop telling me that your neighbor told you what should be important for you in your life. But that's part of the flaw of humanity. So I try as little as possible to give any power over my decision making to any other human being. And the only person I give any power to at any time, I try to be conscious about it, is my wife. Not even my kids. My answer to my kids, if they've got a complaint, then you go live your own life. I'll live mine, right? Like, and I love my kids to death. They don't say that, but I'm going, that would be it, right? So a stranger, right? If you don't like the movie, then go to the movie. Look at here, there's an easy fucking answer I've been saying for 40 years to critics. Gently, kindly, you should spend your time and money on things you personally enjoy. I can't fix this problem for you. I don't control you. I don't have any dominion over you. You can fix this. Go to shit you like. Try shit you like. Stop talking about the stuff you don't like. Go to the stuff you like. I don't get it. This is a piece of humanity that I'm going to go to my grave not understanding. Why do you want to talk about something you don't like? Instead, that 20 minutes you talked about something you don't like, why don't you just spend 10 minutes on something you like? I don't need everybody, and I don't care if I get everybody.
Anyone that's trying to either be an artist, be a writer, be a filmmaker, that is how they should see the rest of the world. Just have that thick skin and just like it or don't like it, just carry on.
History shows us that the people who changed history or the world at times, you think that every single human being, when they were changing it, was behind them, cheering them on? No, they were the rebel rousers. They were the people that were rocking the boat. They were the lunatics. You don't have the thick skin to go up against a system and get them to criticize. Not only will they criticize you, they're going to try and prevent you from existing. They're going to try and trip you as you're trying to run past them. And then they're going to tell lies about you once you get past. Like, this is just because why? They like being in first. They're the leaders and they don't want to be in second. So they're going to do everything they can to hold you back. The question is, are you going to let them?
You're doing a lot of exclusive signings and panels in New York Comic Con this year. How important is direct engagement to you? And what are you looking forward to the most out of this year's convention?
Yeah, here's the reality. On a practical level, I'm better off staying home and engaging on social media because I can hit 1 million people and I'm only going to get a couple thousand people in my line, right? So mathematically, if I want to engage with my fans, right, the only people I can engage with here for the next 4 days is people who are in this building. I don't get to touch any of my other fans that are outside of New York City, let alone outside of America, right? So they don't care that I'm here, I don't think, because unless you can buy something and go to my website and then get it. But somebody now in Bolivia who's a fan, okay, Todd, and what's that do? It doesn't touch them, right? So, or if I put up a new piece of artwork and I go, hey, everybody, look at this new piece of artwork. At least they get to engage in a different way. But I also know that there's a human interaction and that the fans as a whole, here's the one thing that I've never, ever taken for granted, I hope, is that my career is because of the fans. Without the fans giving me their hard-earned money and their support, I am just an artist self-indulging in a corner. And so, like the fans, I am grateful every day to the fans that I have. I say thank you to every single fan when they come. I shake their hand. And if they get something out of me, good. I get something out of them. I get a good life. And my wife and my family are well aware that we've led a good life because of those fans. So every fan's important to me. I wish I'd shake the hand of every single one of them. I can't. I'm not going to be able to do that. It's impossible. But I wish I could because I'm to be eternally grateful that I've lived a bit of a charmed life because people have given me their support. Cool.
Well, on behalf of all the fans, we thank you for all of your creativity.
One point on that, it's just in my DNA. So it's so always interesting to me. What more is just comes natural to me. There is no other option in my brain. Oh man, Todd, you're so tenacious. I don't even think of it in those terms. I'm just like, oh, I got a goal and there's a wall. I either got to go around the wall, over the wall, or through the wall. But the goal's on the other side of the wall. But just the thing in the middle, like I don't know about it. So they go, man, you went through a wall. What? Oh yeah, I guess I did. But it was because the goal was on the other side. Like the wall, even that consequential. So I think way more credit for doing stuff that my personality just does naturally. Anyways, I'm just naturally competitive.
Have it, guys. Todd McFarlane, New York Comic Con. Go and check out all the latest and greatest.
All right, you be good. Thanks for your time.